All right, Shalom. There's a brother Nahalia from the GMS Orlando camp. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who are the elders of Yasher Allah. And a sincere salutation to all Yuakim, who are preaching this word and believing this word, and to the Akwath, who are believing this word in all truth and in sincerity. All right, Yahweh is the name of the one they ignorantly call God. Yahweh Shai is the name of the one they ignorantly call Jesus. Bahashem is in the name. Rakah is spirit, Kodash is holy, Akyam is brothers, Akwath is sisters. Shalom means peace, and Yasher Allah is Israel in ancient Paleo Hebrew. All right, I want to go into a lesson through the spirit based on this video. I did another lesson on a point that they made in this video a couple days ago, but I want to touch a different topic that he mentioned in this portion of the video. All right, and it deals with equity and rulership. All right, so Lord willing, this is edifying. I want to get the first few minutes and then we'll get the scriptures, Lord willing.
The answer is it has to be bigger than the room, and then you don't see it.
Yes.
You're in it instead of seeing it.
Yes. So is it fair to say that the governments do not control this resource? It's the other way around.
Yes. It didn't start out that way, but that's always, you could predict that's the way it would be, because governments need money. And the only way they can get it is to tax their subjects, which is unpopular. And in today's world, governments must try very hard to be popular governments. Otherwise, they tend to be replaced by opposition forces that can pretend to be popular governments and benevolent governments. So they don't like the tax structure so much, but they love the fiat money structure, the devaluation of the purchasing power of the existing national currencies, because that's a hidden tax that goes directly to them. And not one person in 1,000 out there in the street understands how that works. So
now I want to touch this topic, right? Because he's talking about how basically Esau, all right, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, beginning with their elites, they use the fiat currency system to steal resources. All right. And he's mentioning this, and I want to touch this subject through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai, amongst something else, because ultimately it doesn't have to be like this. All right. This is why the Lord gave us the law, statutes, and commandments and told us not to use like the wealth that we are supposed to consider wealth. All right, is substance, is resources. All right, let's go here real quick. This is Genesis chapter 13:1. And Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had, and Lot with him, into the south. And Abram was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold, not fiat currency. All right. And he's explaining that it was intentionally taken off of the gold standard, all right, in the 70s, all right, to basically steal wealth. All right. Now, the reason I want to touch this before we continue is because I titled the lesson, Equity, a wise king is the upholding of the people, because ultimately Yahweh Shai is the one that the Lord's going to set up that's profitable. All right. And the world that we live in today is completely different from what the kingdom of heaven will be. All right. This is actually a turning of things upside down. All right. This is Isaiah 29:16. Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. For shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not? Or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he had no understanding? All right, and they've turned things upside down. And one of the things that he mentions right here in this section is that most people don't understand the money system. And that's because Esau puts deception in the education system. So most people don't understand how the monetary system works. They don't understand that they're under a fiat currency. A lot of people, you'd be surprised, they don't even understand that part, that this system is on a fiat currency, which means it's backed by nothing. It's a debt note. All right, now the Lord told us to have just weights and just balances. Fiat currency is not a just weight. All right, it's not a just balance. All right, this is Leviticus 19:36. All right, matter of fact, let's go here. Let's start at 35. Leviticus 19:35. Ye shall do no unrighteousness in judgment, in meat yard, in weight, or in measure. And that's exactly what Esau's doing. All right, it's unrighteousness in judgment, in meat yard, in weight, and in measure. All right, you'll notice that the portions that you pay for get smaller now. because everything is about making more profits. It's greed. It's a system based on greed. All right. The currency is not real, and they use that fake currency to basically steal resources from other people. See, the foundation of the kingdom of heaven is going to be righteousness. The foundation of this system, all right, they call it capitalism, they call it democracy, but the foundation of it is greed. You know, when you deal with capitalism in general, they basically um, sell you on the idea that they're capitalizing off people's greed. But what they actually do is they just steal. Things get worse. You know, brothers were talking about this on the highways and hedges. There were cars in the 60s and 70s that were more durable than the cars that are made today. Now, technology has increased, so shouldn't the cars be more durable? It will make sense. But again, this system is based on greed. So instead of them making a durable car that will last you a lifetime, they stand to gain money by having you buy a purchase or purchase a new car every so often. So they intentionally make these cars non-durable, all right, so that they can extract more money out of you. All right, now let's go to verse 36, Leviticus 19 and 36. Just balances, just weights, a just ephah, and a just hin shall ye have. I am the Lord your God, which brought you out of the land of Egypt. All right, and this system is not based on just weights and balances. All right, it's basically a tipping of the scale, because when you deal with inflation, it's robbery by another name, because wealth is never destroyed, it's just translated. All right, this is why when we go to Ecclesiastes, the 10th chapter, all right, and we jump down to the 8th verse, it says this: because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. So it's never truly destroyed, it's just translated. And what Esau does is he lies to people. All right, he creates an education system where you don't know what's going on, you don't know you're being robbed, and it shouldn't be so. It shouldn't be this hard to find truth in the world. But because things have been turned upside down, and there is no equity, there is no judgment in the streets, people are doomed and people are in mourning. All right, so let's continue.
There's no animosity or anger on the public part, because they don't love the fiat money structure, the devaluation of the purchasing power of the existing national currencies, because that's a hidden tax that goes directly to them, and not one person in 1,000 out there in the street understands how that works. So there's no animosity or anger on the public part, because they don't understand that they're being plundered. So it's their favorite method of paying for everything.
Yes.
And they have no limit.
Yes.
If it weren't for this skimming off the surface of every transaction and going into an element of society that has had no significant role in producing anything constructive except just skimming off all these little bits and dabs, piece of the action, so to speak, if all of that was left behind to filter into the society itself, into the goods and services and the standard of living of the average person, I can imagine we would be living in a utopia right now of material convenience and wealth, and poverty would be almost a word you have to look up in the dictionary.
Now, this is the point that I want to touch through the spirit, because this is the importance of the kingdom of heaven. This is the importance of Shiloh, all right? The one they ignorantly call Jesus, whose name is Yahweh Shai. All right, equity is going to be established under Yahweh Shai. All right, this utopia that he speaks of, it is not possible with Esau and rulership, because Esau is not made to rule. All right, he's not meant to rule. All right, this is Proverbs chapter 30 and 24. It says, there be four things which are little. Slacky, this ain't that. Slacky, this is Proverbs chapter 31. It says, for three things the earth is disquieted, and for four which it cannot bear. For a servant when he reigneth, and a fool when he is filled with meat. And Esau is both a servant and a fool. All right, and he does not belong in rulership. And the way the world is ran is a testament to that. All right. And this is beautiful because the utopia he's speaking of is the kingdom of heaven. The Lord told us about this before the word utopia was invented. The Lord told us about the kingdom of heaven, which will never be destroyed. See, under this rulership, everybody's in mourning. All right. Going into Proverbs, the 29th chapter and the 2nd verse, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. All right. And Yahweh Shai is extremely important because Yahweh Shai, his rulership is going to be a peace. There's going to be a peace a part of his rulership. Now he's going to rule with the rod of iron, which is a strict rulership. But through that strictness and righteousness, the earth is going to be set at rest. All right, which is something that we haven't seen. All right, matter of fact, let's go here. Let's go to Psalm 78, and I want to jump down to, you know what, Slack it. Let me go to Psalm 72. That's what I wanted. Psalm 72:1, it says, give the king thy judgments, O power, and thy righteousness unto the king's son. He shall judge thy people with righteousness, and thy poor with judgment. The poor don't get judgment on this side. All right. It's a partial judgment. All right. Because when you deal with impartial judgment, that means there's no respecter of persons. All right. Let's go to that word real quick. So this is in a dictionary.com. It says impartiality. All right. It says the quality of not being biased or prejudiced. All right. And in this system, the rich get favors and the poor get preyed upon. All right. And this is why it's so important when you go back to Psalms, the 72nd chapter. It says this in verse 2, he shall judge thy people with righteousness and thy poor with judgment. Because whether you're poor or wealthy, you should still get the same judgment. It shouldn't depend on how much money you have. And that's what the kingdom of heaven is going to entail. Sound money, all right, and an unbiased judgment. Meaning if it's a poor guy, all right, and the rich man committed adultery with the poor guy's wife, that poor man's going to get justice. We're not going to be able to, in the kingdom of heaven, they won't say, well, you couldn't afford a lawyer, so you SOL. The law, statutes, and commandments are going to be enforced in the earth. And it's not going to be under bias. It's not going to be a respecter of persons concerning that. And in this society here, there is. You think about it, you get pulled over on the expressway and they write you a ticket, that could set your whole life back. And it should not be so. All right. And if you can't afford a lawyer, you don't get justice. That's not right. All right. And this is why the Lord is setting up one that is profitable, which is Yahweh Shai. See, Yahweh Shai isn't just important for us as the nation of Israel. It's important for the planet, for the creation. Yahweh Shai coming back and having rulership and dominion, because through his dominion, the earth will be enjoyed. It will be established. The Lord made the earth to be enjoyed and established. Not for people to live in concrete jungles for 70, 80 years and just call it quits. That's not why the Lord made creation, man. But under this rulership, this is all people have. And this is why so many people turn to drugs and so many people turn to all of these different, all this different folly. It's to distract them from their reality. And it should not be so. You shouldn't have to have a PlayStation 5 to unwind. Life was made to be enjoyed. All right. There's Ecclesiastes 10:4. The power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable. All right. Esau's not profitable in rulership. Esau's not profitable in general, but he's definitely not profitable in rulership. Because even now we're witnessing him steal from his own people. All right. I'm gonna go back to this. This is Ecclesiastes 10:4. The power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable. All right, and that is Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. All right, so if we go back to Psalm 72:2, it says, he shall judge thy people with righteousness and thy poor with judgment, which shows you the law, statutes, and commandments are never going to be done away with. Because how do you determine righteousness? It's through the laws. All right, verse 3 reads, the mountains shall bring peace to the people, and the little hills by righteousness. He shall judge the poor of the people. He shall save the children of the needy, and shall break in pieces the oppressor. They shall fear thee as long as the sun and moon endure throughout all generations. He shall come down like rain upon the mown grass, as showers that water the earth. In his days shall the righteous flourish, and abundance of peace, so long as the moon endureth. And see, this is why they're going to learn war. They're not going to learn war anymore, because there's going to be no need. All right. And I mention this often, but there's a guy. There's a political scientist, and I always mention him because this really stuck out to me. He has a saying about international anarchy. All right. And that's basically, in a nutshell. Matter of fact, let's see. I want to see if I can find it real quick. Let's go. Lord willing. I'm going to just play this clip real quick so you can kind of get an idea of what I'm mentioning.
Or anything over the internet.
All right.
You said nations in relation to each other is essentially in a state of anarchism.
Yeah. Well, anarchy basically means the opposite of hierarchy. Sometimes people think when you're talking about anarchy, you're talking about murder and mayhem, but that's not what anarchy means in the realist context.
Mm.
Anarchy simply means that you don't have hierarchy. There's no higher authority that sits above states. States are like pool balls on a table, right? And in an anarchic world, there's no higher authority that you can turn to if you get into trouble. And of course, the political philosopher who laid this all out was Thomas Hobbes.
Mm-hmm.
And Hobbes talked about life in the state of nature. And in the state of nature, you have individuals, and those individuals compete with each other for power. And the reason that they do is because in the state of nature, by definition, you have no higher authority. And Hobbes.
So that was the point that he made, that because these nations don't have somebody that they could go to hash out their issues, they all turn to basically having weapons and trying to defend themselves. Well, in the kingdom of heaven, all right, let's go to Isaiah, the 2nd chapter. All right, Isaiah 2:1 reads, the word that Isaiah the son of Amos saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. All right, that mountain is talking about the government. All right. So Yahweh's government, the one they ignorantly call Jesus, his government is going to sit on top of all these other nations' governments. And they're going to flow unto Yahweh. All right. All right. Verse 3 reads, and many people shall go and say, come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. Here it is. And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. So what John Merschmeyer is talking about is basically the state of the world right now. But in the kingdom of heaven, all of these nations are going to have a higher authority to go to, which is Yahweh Shai, with Yahweh reigning on earth. It's beautiful, man. It's beautiful because the Lord already told us about these things. Right, let's go here. It's Isaiah chapter 14. And this is Isaiah 14 and 14. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. And that's the mentality Esau has. Verse 15 reads, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble and did shake kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners? And basically under Esau's watch, the world has been turned into a wilderness. This is why all of these nations feel like they need weapons to defend themselves, because they have no higher authority. The world was given into Esau's hands, and when they go to him for help, he basically exploits them. And this is why the Lord's going to set up one that's profitable, which is Yahweh Shai. And that is the importance of the kingdom of heaven, not just for us as a nation of people, all right, being Israelites, but also for creation itself. All right, this is Romans chapter 8 and 22. For we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now. All right, waiting for that manifestation of the sons of God. And under Yahweh Shai's rulership, the earth will actually be enjoyed. All right. It's not meant to just be ruled in wickedness forever. All right. This is Isaiah chapter 45 and verse 18. I want to read this in the NLT though, Lord willing. It says, for the Lord is God, and he created the heavens and earth and put everything in place. He made the world to be lived in, not to be a place of empty chaos. I am the Lord, he says, and there is no other. But in order for it to be enjoyed and lived in, it has to be governed in righteousness. And the utopia that G. Edward Griffin is talking about is going to be the kingdom of heaven, which shall never be destroyed. All right. And that's the importance of the kingdom of heaven. And it demystifies the scriptures when you look at it, because the Lord is talking about governments. He's talking about rulership. He's talking about very real things that are happening in the earth. It's not some fairy tale book contrary to popular belief. All right, this is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6 and verse 20 in the Good News translation. All right, so it's Wisdom of Solomon 6 and 20 in the Good News translation. All right, and it reads, this desire for wisdom can prepare you to rule a kingdom. So then you that rule the nations, if you value your thrones and symbols of authority, honor wisdom so that you may rule forever. And that's what the Lord is training up the elect for. Because Yahweh Shai is going to have, he's going to be in the seat of power. All right. And the 144,000 represent that governing body under Yahweh Shai. All right. Let's go here. This is Psalms 122 and 4 says, you know what? Let me start at 3. Jerusalem is built as a city that is compact together. Whither the tribes go up, the tribes of the Lord, unto the testimony of Israel, to give thanks unto the name of the Lord. For there are set thrones of judgment, the thrones of the house of David. With Yahweh Shai being known as the son of David, who's going to sit in that power seat. As a matter of fact, let's go here. Isaiah chapter 32 and 1, behold, a king shall reign in righteousness, and princes shall rule in judgment. And that's not Esau. Esau is not meant to rule. All right. And this is why that utopia that G. Edward Griffin is talking about is going to be in the kingdom of heaven with the Israelites who are meant to rule. All right. This is Proverbs 19 and 10. It says, delight is not seemly for a fool, much less for a servant to have rule over princes. All right. And this is Esau. He's not fit to rule. And the world is a testament to that. All right. And this is beautiful that he mentioned this, because he was saying, look, he was basically saying if they weren't so busy stealing, you could use that wealth to actually benefit the common life of people on earth. But because their God is their belly, they're driven by greed. The scripture said, if he doeth good, he doeth it unwillingly. And the earth needs compassionate, righteous rulers. Not just compassionate, but righteous. All right. And this is why Yahweh Shai is coming in, and the scripture says he's going to judge with equity. All right. This is Psalms 99 and 4. The king's strength also loveth judgment. Thou dost establish equity. Thou executest judgment and righteousness in Jacob. All right. So Yahweh Shai is going to be that strong ruler, all right, on earth, that is going to establish the earth forever. All right. This is why in Daniel, the 2nd chapter, we jump down to verse 44. It says, in the days of these kings shall the power of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people. It's not going to be a rainbow coalition, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. All right. So I just want to hit that quick point through the spirit with this video. Lord willing, I'm probably going to do a few lessons on this conversation that they've had, because it was a beautiful one through the spirit. A lot of edifying points. All right, so Lord willing, this was edifying. With that, I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wakar Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who are the elders of Yashar Allah, and a sincere salutation to all Yuakim, who are preaching this word and believing this word, and to the Aquath, who will believe in this word in all truth and in sincerity. Shalom.